The views and opinions expressed by the participants on this show are not necessarily those of Stewart Information Services Corporation, Stewart Title, or Stewart Insurance. Before you make any investment, you should seek the advice of your investment advisor or attorney.
Whether you're a real estate broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, everything matters when it comes to real estate. This is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. Stewart Title's Bill Knapik and guests open the door to what really matters in owning, buying, and selling real estate. And now, Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title, brought to you by Stewart Insurance. Here to inform, entertain, and inspire, Bill Knapik.
Welcome to the show. It is Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title. I am your host, Bill Knapik. Thank you for joining us again on this radio adventure. Today, as always, I'll remind you to go to stewart.com/radio in case you want to see this show. And, of course, hear this show and past episodes once again at stewart.com/radio. And we're glad you joined us today. We're going to talk about the money world and the real estate world. We're going to talk about real estate, most likely in the Katy area, and who knows what else. Of course, we always have insurance as the icing on the cake. But first, let's get down to business as we welcome Stacy Massano. She is with, the company is called Polunsky Vital Green. She's the Director of Business Development. Stacy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Bill. Glad to be here.
Well, here we are, and it's always exciting to talk about anything that relates to money because that's the lifeblood of almost everything, but certainly the real estate world. So,
sure.
First of all, let's tell people about how you found your way into the mortgage world and what your firm does.
Sure. So I've been in the mortgage industry for a little over 28 years. And back in the day, I answered a newspaper ad, which is back.
I'd love to hear that.
You and I's day.
How'd you know how old I was? But okay, yeah. There we are.
So did that, and that's how I stepped into the mortgage industry world. And I've been there ever since.
Well, what's interesting is let's just hit the point. As far as years ago, anybody that's like really young, we got jobs by looking in the newspaper.
We did.
And actually, like myself, I've seen jobs. I got jobs from sending my resume or calling the person at the other end of the ad. That was one way it used to work way back.
Right, absolutely.
And then here, these many years later, you're now with a company. Let's tell people about what your company does.
Sure. So Polunsky Vital Green is a real estate law firm, and we represent mortgage lenders, banks, and credit unions. We have been in business for almost nearly 50 years, a little over 45, 46 years. And Alan Polunsky started the business back then, and it's just grown ever since. We have Jay Beidel and Marty Green, who are also our principals. And our firm is one of the oldest law firms in the state of Texas representing lenders. So with that being said, we use a lot of technology in our law firm. We have a very robust team that is available to our mortgage lender clients for any questions, preparation of documents, and things of that nature.
And that's fascinating because in I would think fertile ground right here in the Houston area and maybe beyond, there's plenty of people that you're able to serve in this area.
Sure. Marty Green, who is one of our principals, just became on the Texas Finance Commission as a commissioner. So that's a really big value add for our clients. And then we have Doug Foster and Caroline Jones, who are former commissioners of the Texas Department of Savings and Mortgage Lending, who are also a great value add for our customers as well.
Give us an idea. There aren't many acronyms in the real estate world to begin with, but in the mortgage world, you have your own there as well. So the first one we'll talk about is the TMBA. Let's tell people what that is and what role does that play in the real estate and mortgage world?
Sure. So the Texas Mortgage Bankers Association is one of the largest state organization, have been in existence for almost or over 100 years, actually.
Wow.
Yes. So that association does a lot of advocacy and education. One thing that they were very instrumental in is getting the advocacy and the law passed for Texans to take the equity out, cash out refinances to take the equity out of their homes. So we were one of the last states to have that offered to us. So they advocated really a lot to get that passed.
And your company relates to organizations like this. Tell us about the involvement in the community and how important that is for you to be a part of the TMBA and even the HMBA. Drum roll, here comes the second acronym, and that's the Houston Mortgage Bankers Association.
The Houston Mortgage Bankers Association, absolutely. So the Houston Mortgage Bankers Association is very involved in community efforts on affordable home lending, things of that nature. And then Texas Mortgage Bankers at the state level is very instrumental in advocating on the behalf of lenders so that lenders can then advocate on behalf of the consumer and offering different mortgage products.
And let's tell people again, your company, Polonsky, Beidel, Green, what you're doing again from a menu standpoint of what you're serving for the mortgage people out there.
Sure. So like I said, we represent mortgage lenders, banks, and credit unions. You know that large stack of paper that you go and sign when
the voluminous stack, yes.
Yes, but is now becoming an e-closing.
Still
So,
voluminous because then
is.
you have to scroll down
It's electronic.
100 pages. Okay, yeah.
We do that preparation and or review of those documents. We do compliance. We really assist our clients on a instrumental level on any type of real estate transaction or lending transaction or questions they may have. So we represent the mortgage lender in that scenario.
So would it be safe to say that you're helping them interpret or you're reviewing the fine print, in fact, all the print for them? Would that be one of the services?
Texas does have a UPL law. It's a law specific that attorneys do have to prepare and review certain documents.
And what's the UPL mean?
Unauthorized practice of law.
Okay, so there's again so many complexities to the real estate transaction, let alone the paperwork, but like your company is helping people in a tremendous way.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, going back to the Texas Mortgage Bankers Association and how that plays a role for anybody in the real estate transaction, but all specifically for your company and for the people you're serving.
We basically just help our lenders to help their consumers in getting into homes.
And in your role as business development, are you out there spreading the word about your company with the various lenders the many, many lenders that are here in Houston? How does that, tell us how you're kind of a little day-to-day, if you would, please.
Sure. So my day-to-day is really interacting with our mortgage lenders, credit unions, and banks. Just, there's different services that we offer that our lenders can plug into. So they can have all of our services, some of our services, whatever fits into their workflow.
As far as your company, Polonsky, Beidel, Green, I'm getting pretty good at saying
You
that, if I
are.
may say
You
so.
are.
I'm just saying, as far as the distinctions, I'm sure there's others in your field, but what are some of the distinctions about what you all bring to the table?
Sure. So we do have past commissioners on our team that's a value add. We have a very robust law firm. We have been in existence the longest.
In this field, right?
In this field.
That's a big thing.
For Texas. And we are nationwide, but specialize in Texas, of course. We do have 3 offices, which are San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston. So we pretty much cover the entire state. And our team is probably one of the most experienced and is the most experienced team out there.
We're talking with Stacy Massano with Polonsky, Beidel, Green, the law firm right here in Houston, Texas, and beyond. And Stacy, before we close the segment, give us an idea. What else do you want people to know about what your company's doing right here in Houston or far beyond?
Sure. So, we have been very diligent in all of our lenders as far as our services. And, as our lenders grow, we grow. And as the industry changes and ebbs and flows, we are there to assist our lenders in all of that.
As far as the marketplace right now, give people an idea in your world. How's the market right now? We know there's been some changes and things like that. Mm-hmm. How's it going?
Well, the interest rates are up from where they were. I think probably from what I've heard from the mortgage industry is we all knew the interest rates were going to rise. It was just how quickly they rose this time, which kind of took everyone a little bit off. So then you get into home affordability. What a borrower was able to afford at a lower interest rate is different at a higher interest rate. So they may have to look at a smaller home or do a different type of a loan program.
Or maybe even one a little further out.
Further out, yes. But the thing about the home buying process is buy your home because there will be another refinance. Market at some point in time, and you can always refinance.
It's that easy.
Yes.
And of all, other than going back to when you answered that ad in the newspaper, and I love that part because many of us can identify with that. But other than that, of all the things you could be doing, what is it that you love about your role at Pulaski Vital Green?
I love the people aspect of my role, and I love my passion, and what I really love is consumers being able to be a homeowner.
It's that easy. Stacy, let's tell people how they can reach out to your company.
Sure. Our website is www.mortgagelaw.com, and we would really love to hear from you.
And all your information's there, phone, etc., all those things. You can find them right there at mortgagelaw.com. That's so easy. People driving right now can just remember it.
Mortgagelaw.com.
And they got it, right?
That's right.
Stacy, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Let's welcome Ahmad Adams. His company is called Adam Group Realty. Ahmad, welcome to the show.
Hey, Bill. How you doing? Thanks for inviting me.
Well, we're so glad you're here, and we also thank Joyce Eisenberg, our business development person, for bringing you on the show here today. So, your company, Adam Group Realty. Let's tell people about your company.
Yeah, Bill. I've been in business for as an investor and a real estate agent for over 25 years. I got about 4 years ago, I got my broker license. I decided to work for myself, and then later on, I was approached with one of my teammates, and he says, "Why don't I come and join you?" I said, "I don't know, but guess what? Now I've got a little bit about 10 agents that are joining me, and my goal is to teach them, train them, and coach them, and as well as be their mentor because of my experience in this real estate, and loving it."
And geographically speaking, let's tell people where your office is. You're on the west part of town, is that right?
Yes, my office is located in Katy. So it's Katy, but I got second office in Town and Country area that I started with. But mainly I'm in Katy office, and most of my agents go over there.
As far as the market, I mean, there's so many in every direction. Certainly Houston is very active, but let's take the west area, and those listening outside of Houston, Katy and the Town and Country area is pretty much directly west of the city of Houston. But from an activity standpoint and the state of the market right now, let's tell people what's going on. What's it like?
Well, the interest rate has risen, so that causes that some buyers to try to look for a smaller home, maybe smaller, just maybe move out more out of the city, like to the west or to the out of the Houston area because the price wise. But still is there are plenty of buyers still around. I've got a lot of investors that I work with. I got home buyers that are still trying to buy a home. We see that there are more homes stay in the market a little bit longer, but it's not as bad as it used to be, like back in 2008 or something like that.
That's a long time ago.
Yes.
I don't know what happened in 2008. However, so let's take the buyer. If I'm a buyer and I said, Ahmad, I want to have a home or buy a home in Katy, the Katy area, let's say,
Yes.
and we'll just take 400,000 as a number,
Of course.
and maybe say, hey, 400,000 is my budget. What's that process going to be like? Am I going to have things to look at, or
Of
do I
course.
need to raise the price? What?
Well, no, for 400 in Katy, is right now is the medium price, like 413. It used to be 430. Now it's came down a little bit, 413. But there are plenty homes is still available over 350 or 300 in Katy area. Depends where you want to be, but because of the prices that is going down, and some sellers deciding to reduce the price, not because of the prices homes coming down, because the sellers are willing to sell it lower so they can move on. So that's the reason. But the prices won't come down.
That's a good point. In the real estate transaction in any state of any market, there's a lot of things that drive a seller and a buyer, and sometimes it's like, I'm not worried too much about leaving a few dollars on the table.
Yeah.
I just want to move on and get to the
Yes.
next chapter.
Yes.
Either I have to or I just want to, right?
Yes, that's what I always advise my clients. I always say it's much better than renting, because renting you don't get nothing. You just pay rent and go. There is no equity builds up. There is no adding value to your home. But that's why if you can afford it, if you can afford to pay the mortgage, it's best to buy a home and wait a few years. You're going to have equity build up. You're going to see that your value of your homes go up, because, Bill, I've been living here for almost 48 years.
In Houston.
In Houston and surrounding, like Houston, Katy. But all these years, I never seen the price of home go down. It's always up and up. My first home was $38,000 when I bought it. And there is no way you can buy anything $38,000, not even vacant land.
Wow, it
so
must have been a small place, though, even
no,
back then.
it was 3-bedroom. in Katy.
3 bedrooms?
Yes. So what I'm saying is
Wow.
the prices never goes down. The price of homes keep rising and rising. Like there were some homes that, as an investor, I bought some homes for myself and some for my clients 2-3 years ago for 150. There is no way you're going to see it anymore. The same house is worth 250 and more. So it's best to buy a home anytime you can, even if it's interest up. That's okay. You can always
later.
refinance. Yes,
If it goes down, that is. But there's no, and that's the thing. It's like it makes it exciting. We don't know.
Yeah,
the future,
I
so
seen
you
it
never know what
in my
happens.
lifetime here. I seen it 3 times go up and down.
Right quick. Let's go back to this. Now you're saying you bought a home for $38,000. How many years ago was that?
That was about 30 years ago.
Okay, that's not as interesting as you said you bought it in Katy.
Yes.
All right, tell everybody, what was Katy like 38 years ago?
38 years
If you were to
ago.
look around and describe what you saw back then, was anything out there?
But
38 years ago.
Yeah, well, it wasn't really in Katy, but it was in suburb of Katy, like closer.
But it was west of the city.
Yes, west of the city. Bill, I'm a cyclist. I used to be a professional cyclist racing. So I rode my bicycle all over Katy. That I remember the day was saying the Cinco Ranch coming soon, and we were riding our bike in that area. So it was just lands. It was farms at that time. There were a lot of the cows and horses. We would ride that, but
It was the country,
yes,
right?
And then Cinco Ranch came and different. Now you see you're going past Fulshire. You still they're building.
Right.
They're going close to a Symington. So the cities keep growing, and that because the Houston area is so affordable, people can live much less expensive. It's much less expensive. People can live easier than other states. So a lot of people moving here, and so and also the kids growing up, they need places to live. They need to get out of the house. So because of that, it's just the city of Houston and surroundings is growing big and big. So pretty much that it'd be the first city in the United States as far as how big it gets.
Well, indeed, it's a massive city, getting bigger every day. Also, I too I cycle, and I rode 4 miles just the other morning. That's all I had time for. I was out there. But let's tell people, you still cycle.
Yes, I still cycle. I'm not racing anymore. I like to do, but I race in a velodrome. So I got state championship many times. I did the race for the United States, the race, and then I was gonna go for world cycling, but because I'm getting so busy, so I stopped at racing. Maybe later on I'm gonna continue.
And also, you have cycled with some celebrities that we know. Let's tell people at least.
Yeah.
Lance Armstrong.
Yes, I rode with Lance Armstrong for 5-6 years in a row, and then
So you all kept your level of skill was able to keep up with someone in that realm.
Yeah, when I was racing, I was in good shape. Yeah, I rode with Lance. Me and Lance and Bob Rowe, which is one of the old cyclists that now is commentating in Tour de France. We at one point we sprinted against each other as well. Lance always called me the fastest sprinter, but also I rode with the Robin Williams and some other celebrities. Yeah.
Where did you ride with Robin Williams?
In all this time happens.
San Francisco, or
no, in Austin.
Okay.
Because there was
a big cycling headquarters.
Yeah. And then there was a ride for the Roses helping cancer, and it was a Live Strong ride. So Will Ferrell came, and
He's
Robin
a cyclist?
Williams. Well, he wrote. It's so funny. My memory with Will Ferrell is like we started riding. After 1 mile, Will Ferrell was saying, "Is it over? Is it over? Is it over?" So no, he wasn't. He just rode a few miles. But Robin Williams, we rode together about 80 miles.
Wow.
Many times. Yeah.
What a distinction that is.
Very good. Yeah.
So you have some good stories to tell.
Very good stories.
When you have the buyer in your car, Ahmad, you have a lot of stuff to talk about that's unique.
Yes. I mean, as a matter of fact, I see this studio. It just reminds me because I was a programmer in KPFT for 3 years. So
KPFT?
Yes.
Okay.
KPFT. I was a programmer for 3 years for Persian community. And then I had my own TV show in Access Channel for 5 years. I was producing 1 hour TV show for once a week.
Wow.
So
that's a lot of work. So
it's a lot of work.
You feel my pain. Huh?
Yeah. A lot of work,
awesome.
Yes.
Well, as far as real estate goes, wow, you have great stories to tell, and you understand the community. I think you may be one of the few realtors, I'm sure there's others, but one of the few realtors that could say, hey, as we're driving around Katy, hey, I was here 38 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember when.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, let's take a guess. Pure speculation. No one knows the future. But where do you think it's going to go? Katie, let's look ahead 10 years from now. What are we going to be looking at? What would you guess?
But right now, the Katy is one of the number one cities that as far as the fastest growing. So 10 years from now I think we're going to be in Symington. The Katy is booming. There is no room to live anymore because it's so big and it's growing so fast. But I've got a lot of memories. Like I said, I have experience for more than 25 years in real estate. I can help my clients. I can help my agents. That's why I'm their mentor and their coach, because I can give them a lot of information that not normal agent has, because I done so many different things in my life.
We're talking with Ahmad Adam. Ahmad, before we close this segment, what else do you want people to know?
I just want to tell them, don't be scared if the interest rate is rising. As an example, the first time I bought my home, I pay 8.5% interest. That didn't kill me. So don't be scared. Just if you need to buy a home now rather than later. So if you need any help, they can call me. I can help them.
And your number is?
My number is 832-282-3744. And they can reach me at adamgrouprealty.com, and we'll be more than happy to help them.
adamgrouprealty.com. His number is 832-282-3744. Right?
Thanks. Yes, sir.
By the way, do you have Lance Armstrong's cell number? We'll give him a call later. All right. Thanks, Ahmad, for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Let's welcome Daniel Hara. His company is called Home Start Capital. Hey, Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
Well, I guess it's time to talk money again, so let's tell people Home Start Capital. Sounds like you're in the money world.
I am, and it's the start of something good, or at least you hope it is.
We always hope that. So your company, you're lending people money, right?
We are. Mm-hmm. We lend money on purchases. We lend money for refinances. We lend money on cash outs. Refinances, cash outs are kind of on the outs because of interest rates rising right now, but purchases are not. Purchases are still very solid, even though they're kind of falling a little bit according to HAR. They're still very much prominent in the news, very important for people moving into town, and we're ready to lend.
Well, let's tell people some of in the mortgage world right here in Houston and even beyond. Let's tell people some of the distinctions of your company.
Sure. So one of the things that we do differently than the majority of the company is we are a one-on-one lender. I like to explain it as high touch, low volume. The vast majority of our business is referred to us, either from real estate agents, professionals, CPAs, financial advisors, past clients, or they find us on the internet. But the vast majority are past referrals. And so what we like to do with clients is to work with them one-on-one. We are very different, and we like to be different in distinction with any of the big guys. And I mention them because they make it sound so appealing. You just pull out their phone and you'll get qualified in 30 seconds or even less on the commercial. But the reality is that leaves a lot to be desired in the process. Number one, the borrower doesn't even know why they're qualifying or not qualifying. Sometimes they don't qualify. They don't know why. So they're left dissatisfied with that. Number two, they may not know what they're getting themselves into. And number three, you just feel lost. Okay, and there may be things that are lost in translation, and you end up hearing these horror stories 3 weeks into the process of, oh, we didn't know you were paying child support, or something else that may get in the way. So we've turned it on its head. We like to be more of a consultative environment, and I will tell you that we are not more expensive as a result. Now, that may sound completely opposite of what you expect. If you're one-on-one, you're not working volume, how is that possible? Well, we don't have churn. If we tell you you can qualify, you're going to qualify. And in addition, we'll come to a very quick conclusion why you can't qualify, and we'll let you know why. So it's going to be an environment or a feeling of you're being taken care of, and we're working with you one-on-one.
And it sounds like you're focusing on the personalized service, whether it's an individual or family, right?
My dad once said, is that the way you would explain it to your mom? And that really resonated with me. I guess at that point I would have said, no, you're right. That's way too high level. That's too veneer. I'm not really giving you the information that you need with the education that you have to be able to fully appreciate what the next steps are. So I completely changed my mindset. And this is before I even started the company.
So you started the company. Give people an idea. How long ago was that you started?
This
Home Start Capital.
Yeah, every story always has a debacle to start the story to make it interesting, and mine's no different. We started in 2007, and if you remember what happened in 2007, nobody was starting a mortgage company in 2007. This is at the beginning.
Except for you.
I think I'm the only one that I knew that did that, and I certainly was the only one among my peers that survived 3 years later. So it was a very difficult environment. Just for your audience, 2007, 8, 9, 10, this is the meltdown. This is the meltdown where companies are, blowing up, imploding, going to bankruptcy, and we didn't know where we were going to go as a country because of the economy going into the gutter.
As we mentioned, 2007, do you happen to remember what? And we talk about interest rates all the time. Do you remember what the interest rate was?
Yeah, sure.
What was it then?
Higher than they are now. I remember a good rate for Fannie Mae, kind of the gold standard. Probably 6 1/4, 6 3/8. You were kind of happy. I mean, I think I did a couple at 5 7/8, 5.875, and you're like, wow, home run. They were higher, but we are getting pretty close to that right now, as a matter of fact.
We're getting there. Indeed. Well, let's talk also about the first-time home purchaser.
Yeah.
Give us an idea. What would you advise someone out there listening that's saying, the rent's going up or whatever, or it's time for us to buy a home, and this is our first home. And I bet in this big city, there's many first-time home buyers still out there. How do you advise them?
So my advice to them is be ready to cough up a lot of documents, okay? Getting a mortgage is a part-time job, and this is why it's so important you work with – we're not the only ones that work like this, but I am one of the few where we really work with you one-on-one, and we help you understand 3 steps down the road. So you're going to have to be ready to provide a lot of documentation on income, assets, residence, tax returns, W-2s, employers, verification numbers. Who are you going to use for insurance? How's it all going to come together, especially if you're self-employed? So just be prepared. And all you have to do to be prepared, honestly, if you're working with somebody competent, and I like to include myself in that in that sentence, is just be emotionally ready that it's going to take a little bit of work and attention to detail on your part to get this going. It's not the way they make it look on commercial, where you put your social security number, your date of birth, and boom, you get a pre-approval letter. And if you get that, be very, very wary.
And in your helping people all the time throughout the years, as far as, well, let's just take in the last couple months, how many first-time home buyers have you run into? Let's say out of the last 10 loans, have any been first-time home buyers?
Yeah, probably about 40% of them have been first-time home buyers. So we're still dealing with quite a bit. As a matter of fact, I just came from a closing first-time home buyer. Mm-hmm. Yeah, $250,000 purchase. They put the minimum down payment, 3%, 3.5%. They used an FHA loan. And we closed in less than 30 days, as a matter of fact.
And also, as far as take the last several loans that you've had out there, how many have been, if any, from out of the state of Texas?
Wow. I would say probably, in excess of 30%.
Is that right?
Yeah, out of state. Yes.
And where are you seeing people coming from?
California.
There we go.
California. Out of the 30%, they probably are 50% of that. New York, Michigan, Illinois, Washington. A lot of people.
Washington State.
Yeah. Seattle, the outlying areas of Seattle. They're just, calling it quits and saying, I can live a better way of life in Texas, specifically in Houston. They're larger homes, they're more convenient, they're newer, they're not as expensive. You go on down the road, and the marketplace is speaking, and it's speaking very, very loudly. This is why we're seeing such huge run-ups in prices here in Houston.
Well, it's interesting, too. I got on a calculator as far as taxes, state income tax. Now, Washington doesn't apply. They don't have the state income tax. However, California does, and I put in different incomes that someone would have. And I was looking at the celebrity, for example, and I said, okay, or someone that makes maybe $5 million a year. So just the state income tax, they take 50% of that $5 million if you were that large of an earner, let alone if you're at 100,000 or 50 or whatever. Yeah, so it's a good reason to leave.
Well, and they're leaving. And they're leaving. Anybody who says they're not, they are. I think the fastest, largest state in the nation is Texas. I mean, there's maybe some that are faster, but they're significantly smaller in Texas.
And as far as the mortgage industry and maybe even interest rates, what do you see that, Daniel, that's lying ahead here for the next, 6 months or so, if you were to speculate?
Well, we didn't get good news this past Friday from Chairman Powell. He came out and he reaffirmed that they are looking to maintain inflation down, and they're looking to continue to increase interest rates, not as quickly as they were for the first half or the first 7 months of the year, but they are interested and they are keen on the fact of trying to reduce inflation. So I do not expect rates to fall this year. Right now, the national average is right at 6%. We here in Houston, through our company, again, we have very little churn, very little waste. We're probably at 5.25%, 30-year fix. So a significant difference in rates, but I do not suspect rates are going to fall. Now, there's always, just like the stock market, they go up and down, up and down. There could be a good day versus a bad day. But generally speaking, I expect us to probably be another quarter point higher by the end of the year.
We're talking with Daniel Hara with Home Start Capital. He started the company. Hey, Daniel, Home Start, you started it, right? The word start is entering into this. Of all the things you could be doing, you obviously love what you're doing. What is it you love about being in this profession?
I have a passion for it. I remember getting into this business because I used to be in the hedge fund world. I'd crunch numbers all day. I wanted to do numbers, but I really wanted to help people. And when I started reading up about, home ownership and the lack of home ownership, we have been in a declining percentage of home ownership in the United States for the past 3 decades. And I remember reading that 90+% of millionaires are homeowners. If you don't have a house, it's going to be hard for you to make it. especially to pass on wealth to other generations that come behind you. So to me, housing not only is essential because you need a roof under your place, under your head, but over your head, but you also need it to be able to create wealth. And if you don't have access to that, it's a shame. So I really have a passion to help people become homeowners, be able to have a place of their own, feel like they're part of the community, and also build equity for them and their children as they move on.
And we've talked about the first-time home buyer. We talked about other home buyers. What about investors, right quick? You're helping investors as well?
We do, yeah. We just closed the 14th loan for a client in particular. I won't name them by name, but I'll call him Mr. V. 14 loans under his belt. He bought yet another house. So we are doing investment loans. They're a little bit tricky. They require a significantly higher down payment, 20% under most circumstances, sometimes 25%. But we're doing them. We do have the appetite for it.
Sounds good to me, Daniel Harrer. Let's tell people how they can reach out to you.
Sure. 713-275-2785. That's the office. Or you can always email us at info@Homestart Capital. That's the easiest way to remember. But you can also just type in D Harrer, D for Daniel, and then Harrer, my last name, at homestartcapital.com.
What's the website?
It's easy. homestartcapital.com. And that's start, like the beginning of something.
homestartcapital.com. And the phone number is 713-275-2785. Daniel, thanks for being on the show.
I really appreciate the time.
If you're a real estate professional, then listen closely. Cyber criminals are targeting our industry. They are impersonating real estate professionals, homebuyers, sellers, and title agents. Their goal is to gain access to your inboxes, computers, and clients so they can steal information and funds. Does your business insurance offset these risks? Not sure? Contact Stewart Insurance to determine if your business is properly insured. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827. Visit stewartinsurance.com or call 866-798-2827.
Real Estate Matters with Stewart Title would not be possible without our partner, Stewart Insurance, with a focus in real estate and a special focus on real estate brokers. Stewart Insurance creates insurance plans to address the risks facing our industry today. They invest a significant amount of time helping real estate broker owners offset and manage their risks. Here he is, John Bramlett with Stewart Insurance.
Hello, Bill. Always a pleasure.
Here we are again, John. So, as always, a fascinating show, learning so many things, and here you are to bring the insurance portion to the masses.
To the masses. Let's talk claims.
Oh, of course, we hope, it's that thing, we hope you'll never have a claim, but that's why you have insurance. Here it is,
that's why you have insurance,
in case
yes.
you do.
In case you do. So
that's a first. We haven't talked about that. Let's talk about claims.
So, you're a real estate broker, or you have a property management firm, an independent title and attorney agent, a lender, and you think you have a claim. You think a claim might be coming up. Just some thoughts about that. The first concern is folks that do nothing. Well, I'm going to ignore it. It'll go away. Maybe it won't be an issue. I got an email from a client that was a former client on a previous transaction that was upset that they didn't feel like that they represented me properly, but they're really probably not going to do anything. So I'm just gonna let it go.
That's called denial.
Yes, it is. Yes,
I've heard of that.
So the first thing is don't ignore it, because chances are it won't go away. The second is, if this does happen, whether you have an official claim or there's a concern that you're going to have a claim, reach out to your insurance advisor, especially if they're an independent insurance advisor, because you have some flexibility. With an independent insurance advisor, they are not directly connected to an insurance company, so that you've got some flexibility. So have that conversation with your advisor, like an advisor at Stewart Insurance, to say, this is what my concern is. This is a situation that we're dealing with, and together you can work through what the options may be. Many insurance partners that we work with, whether it be for errors and omissions or cyber or general liability, many times they will have a help desk or a pre-claim support group that you can have a conversation with them, and it doesn't get on the books as a claim or potential claim. But beginning that process with your insurance advisor can help you guide through that. So if you do need to have a conversation with the insurance company, you know what kinds of things to say and and what kinds of topics to bring up. So that's the second thing would be to make sure that you have that conversation with your insurance broker.
And that's the great thing also about Stewart Insurance is you can have those conversations along the way, even before you get the insurance. But as you're saying, as far as a claim, you can have that conversation to get an idea, hey, what should we do? And from the insurance company with Stewart Insurance, they're going to be able to draw on their past experience to maybe give some extra guidance.
Well, absolutely. I mean, we work with clients that have claims all the time, unfortunately, but it does happen.
Right.
And then each insurance partner that we work with is a little different. So some are a bit more proactive in some of their pre-claim support and having those help desks than others. So that's kind of a way to expedite it, is to have that conversation with us. Again, the second thing would be, just to remember that settlements can be expensive. So if you ignore something, a settlement with some of the liability costs, according to our recent article in Texas Realtor, runs around $37,000. So you don't want to be in a situation where that's coming out of your pocket without any type of consideration. So if you're having the conversation with your insurance advisor and you walk through what that process is, whether it's a potential claim or an actual claim, if there is time to make the claim, let's do it at the appropriate time so that you're protected. And also so that, that the deductible would come into play. So you're not out of pocket that whole $37,000, because if you wait too long, you could potentially end up putting that burden on yourself. We've seen there's stories of some clients that'll have that potential claim coming up, and I'll just change insurance partners. I'll change insurance companies, and that way I don't have the issue. The problem
I don't think that's going to work.
Well, there's two problems with that. One is let's say you change insurance partners and you have an idea that there's a potential claim. So then at some point you have to report it as a claim. The previous insurance partner is not going to help you out because it wasn't claimed during the prior policy period. Your current insurance partner is not going to provide coverage because during the application process, there's always a question: are you aware of or do you anticipate any potential claims?
Oh, yes.
And if you say no, and they find out that you were aware of it, then that's going to be denied. So if you weren't aware of it, and let's say it happened 5 years ago and you have a new insurance partner, but you weren't aware of it, nobody on your team was aware of it, then your current partner will provide coverage. But if they find out that you were aware of it and you did a little bait and switch by changing insurance partners, then you're not going to be covered.
And you're reminding us of two things. Number one, tell the truth.
Yes.
Number two, that the insurance company, in many categories of insurance, they're going to ask questions before you get to sign up with them.
Absolutely.
So you have to be knowledgeable and aware. You can't just omit things or forget. You have to be honest.
Absolutely. So it's, insurance boils down to, as we've talked many times, about how much risk you wish to have placed upon yourself versus how much risk you want to put on the insurance company. And they're going to evaluate you as a risk, or your company as a risk or potential risk. And based upon those risks, then that's what's going to establish the type of coverage you can have, the depth of coverage you can have, and then what that cost of the coverage or the premium is going to be. So the more straightforward you are up front, the long-term better, possibilities and coverage is going to be. As you said, honesty is always going to be the best policy.
You're putting yourself in the path of being more successful by being straightforward. Here's the real deal. Here's what happened or didn't happen, and
absolutely,
and you're in better shape.
Because things happen, and at some point, 5 years or so, if you've had a claim, it's going to go off your record. But it's important if you anticipate something happening, let them know, because then there's always a way to explain. This is what we think might happen. So again, maybe the coverage is not quite as robust, or maybe your premium's a bit higher, or maybe the deductible's a bit higher, but you still have coverage because you let somebody know up front, versus the worst thing that could happen would be suddenly that claim is denied, you don't have coverage, and now you're fully responsible for the issue, and that's probably going to affect your insurability down the line as well. So it could be, two whammies against you.
A lot of perils out there. That's why you need to have someone on your side in your tool belt, like Stewart Insurance, regardless of what insurance we're talking about, broker, owner, as far as errors and omission or anything else, or whether it's our home insurance. So you just have to have a good insurance partner in life. That's what we need.
Absolutely. I mean, you need to have a good attorney, need to have a good tax professional, and you need to have a good insurance partner, a good insurance advisor that can help counsel you, whether it be for your personal or family coverages or for your business, so that you are properly insured, so that you understand how much risk you're taking on as an individual or as an organization versus how much risk you're placing on the insurance partner.
Well, what else should we think about, John, before we close the segment?
Well, if you do want to be properly insured,
I do.
And well, I appreciate that. And you are properly insured with us, Bill.
By the way, I had a good talk with Raheem.
Oh, fantastic.
We did a little, I got a new policy, with Raheem just last week.
Fantastic. Raheem is
he's a top-notch guy.
One of our stars of the company, most definitely. If you want to be properly insured, and that could mean the most robust plan in the world, or it could be a very conservative plan, but a plan that you understand and a plan that makes sense for where you are at this point in your life, then we would like to be able to help you at Stewart Insurance, whether it be, your home, auto, wind, flood, motorcycle, or your business for an errors and omissions as a real estate broker, property management, independent title attorney agent, your cyber, general liability, business owners, commercial property. We can help you out.
And phone number is?
866-798-2827. That's 866-798-2827. You can learn more about us at stewartinsurance.com or email us at stewartinsurance@stewart.com.
And by the way, one of the nice things about dealing with Raheem, you know what that is? He answered his phone.
He answers his phone.
More than once. When I needed him, he was there. He answered the question. We did business.
Yes, if you give us a call during business hours, you will speak to a live person.
Again, John, Stewart Insurance, the phone number is
866-798-2827.
Thank you so much, John Bramlett.
Bill, always a pleasure.
And as we wind down the show, she is back, Stacy Masano with Polonsky Vital Green. Stacy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Well, did you have a good time? That's most important.
I did have a good time.
Well,
you are fun.
Well, thank you.
You are fun.
Man, that is the best thing anyone said in 400 shows. So I appreciate that. You've made my day. And as people are listening out there, what else do you want people to know about your company or really anything else?
Sure. A big part of our company is also construction lending. We have a construction lending division. So that is a very robust, especially in this market with purchases and building. We're experts in that as well. So if there is any lenders, credit unions, banks that is interested in reaching out to find out more about our services, and I always tell people it doesn't hurt to check what's out there in the marketplace.
Never hurts.
Never hurts. You can always reach us at mortgagelaw.com. And one thing I will say with Alan Polonsky, our owner, our company is very, very in tune to customer service.
That's so important.
Very in tune to customer service.
And believe it or not, while we all know as consumers how we want customer service to be top-notch and even to be exceeded, as we are consumers, I know it myself. I'm out there every day in various things, and it's amazing how mediocrity in some areas is still out there. And even worse, sometimes, I'll give me some mediocrity because this is poor service. So to have the top customer service, that is always top of mind and something we all strive for, I believe, in any business, or we should be striving for that.
Right, and to have both the experience and depth of knowledge as well as the customer service hand in hand is
So
usually hard
important.
to find.
So important, Stacy Masano. Again, the firm is Polonsky Vital Green. Stacy, let's tell people how they can reach out to your company again.
The best place is our website, www.mortgagelaw.com. Click on our team, and all of our information, including mine, is there.
Mortgagelaw.com. Thanks again for being with us today.
Thank you.
He is back, Ahmad Adam. The company is Adam Group Realty. Hey, Ahmad, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, Bill.
And as we close the show, Ahmad, there we are. Real estate, people always think about it. What else should they know about your company? Serving people primarily in the West. I'm sure
yes.
you're helping all over. But
we work all over Houston because I got agents from different parts of it, Houston area, and Katy, of course. So anybody from anywhere in Houston, we can help. But if somebody, the way we do, me and my team, we care about people. So that's number one. We treat them like our family, not just a client. We want them to come back over and over, give our information to relatives and friends, which that's happening. So we care about them. We have a knowledge. So if somebody is looking for buying a home, or any agents wants to join a team that someone care for them and teach them one-on-one, they need to call me 832-282-3744 or go to adamgrouprealty.com.
sounds like you said 832-282-3744.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot.
Ahmad, thanks for being
having
with
me.
us. And he is back, Daniel Haar with Home Start Capital. Daniel, here we are at the end of the show.
Amazing.
So it is amazing. We're so glad that you're here with us today. Before we close it down, what else do you want people to know?
Thanks, Bill. Look, I want them to know a couple of things. One, you can do it. If you're a first-time home buyer, there's lots of financing out there for you, all types. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, USDA, non-QM loans that we're not even talking about today. It's another world. And even portfolio loans. So there's a way to do it. I always tell people, what do you really need? I need two things. One, I need you to be interested. Number two, I need you to be qualified. And if you're not qualified, I just need you to be interested. We can figure out a way to do it. If you're going to put your nose down to the grindstone, we'll get you there. Just follow my lead, and let's get down to it. The other thing I wanted you to know is realtors complain a lot about being a loan officer at 9 o'clock at night. They get that phone call from the client. Hey, can you explain this document? And what does this mean? And why am I signing this? This happens all the time. For realtors
At 9 o'clock at night.
At 9 o'clock at night.
There you go.
At 9 o'clock at night. I know that's when it happens. You're trying to shut down for the night and you just can't because you got to tend to the client. So if you're tired of doing that, we're your guy. We're going to explain everything to your client. They're not going to have any questions. And if they do, they're going to come back to me because they're going to feel the comfort level of talking to me instead of having to go to the realtor.
Sounds good to me, Daniel. Let's tell people once again how they can reach you.
I'm a phone guy. So you can call us at the office, 713-275-2785, or I'll pick up my phone up until 9 o'clock at night, 713-724-8346.
Thank you so much, Daniel Hara. And thank you all for listening to Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title. Simply go to stewart.com/radio. That's right. Let's say you're out there and you say, hey, I want to see what the guests are doing, what's happening in the studio. I saw Daniel. You could see us all right there at stewart.com/radio. In addition, you can go to past episodes for the last couple of years. That's right. You can see and hear all the shows simply at stewart.com/radio. And at Stuart Title, whether you're here in Houston, Texas, with our many offices or anywhere around the country, we would be honored to be stewards of your real estate transaction. Simply go to stewart.com. You can find out all sorts of things about title and about Stuart Title. We're over 130 years old. That's right. Started in Galveston, Texas. And, of course, our show can be found at stewart.com/radio. Thank you for listening. On behalf of John Bramlett, Tom Carpentier, who also is an avid cyclist, Larry Warren, Justin Ramirez, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
When it comes to real estate, everything matters. Whether you're a broker, realtor, homeowner, buyer, or seller, for informative and entertaining information when it comes to owning, buying, and selling real estate, tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. to Real Estate Matters with Stuart Title, brought to you by Stuart Insurance.